Hi there, welcome to No Man's Sky. My name is Cash the Stampede. One thing that you're going to learn about me on this channel is that I play a substantial amount of video games. Sometimes I play them for tens of hours, but sometimes your game will hit that sweet spot and I will play it for hundreds and hundreds of hours, and No Man's Sky is a hundreds of hours game for me. Now, I do want to clarify that while a lot of my gameplay has been exploring this universe, another thing I've explored quite a bit has been the base building, quite particularly the base building on the capital ships. Say hello to the ISB High Ground. This is my fleet. One capital ship and 30 freighters. Most of them are combat freighters. Some of them are for trade, some are for exploration, and some are for mining, but each and every single one of them were added into the fleet by yours truly. And this is something that you can do too if you're not familiar with the gameplay loops in No Man's Sky. And in addition to being able to build up your entire fleet, you can dock your ship in your hangar, go into your bridge, and extend from there all the way out to the back, which is quite a bit of available space, and pretty much customize your entire base. You can leave it as simple as you find it, because each and every one of these capital ships do have a very basic procedural layout. They're nothing to write home about. I'm talking about 5 or so modules with a few designs in them for convenience. But you can take that or erase it completely and put together an absolutely foolish looking base, or something that's nice and streamlined, or something that's basic, you know, whatever your wheelhouse happens to be. Now, each and every capital ship does come with a 9-bay hangar that you can of course fill with 9 of your own starfighters. But usually it'll only spawn in 6 of your ships, leaving 3 spaces for random ships to come and go in and out of your hangar as they please. This is actually good for you because maybe you're shopping around for special materials or even ships or ship parts. Well, there's nothing better than coming home from a long session and seeing exactly what you need sitting right in your driveway. But let's go ahead and take the hangar teleporter up to the bridge and get this base tour started. And everything that you have seen so far up to this point, the hangar and the bridge we're at right now, will be the same on every single capital ship you board. The only thing that you will notice that will be different is the crew, usually depending on which system you're in. I specifically was looking around for a Viking fleet because I am representing Viking in this playthrough, or in my roleplay I should say, so I have that type of a crew here in front of me. But leading off from the bridge in the green area, each and every ship has this green area leading you to, you know, the buildable area of the ship. And here is where everything gets started. Now, this is my fleet command area. It starts off with the active planetary probe, just a nice tool for scanning each and every planet all at once, rather than having me fly around and scan them on my own. But each and one of these terminals is a spot where I can manage my fleet. I don't really need this many terminals. You can only send so many ships on a mission at once anyway, but I do like how my crew interacts with the stations, so it does really feel like I have this massive fleet operation going on, and it's just really cool to see. Heading out one of the doors, you can get out to the exterior, and yes, you can walk on the outside of your ship, and I do have a structure over here that we will be looking into in just a little bit. If you walk back through Fleet Command out into the middle section, you then end up over in the weapons store. I do have my own weapons vendor here, and to the left of him I do have my Exo-craft vendor. This is the planetary vehicles, different parts, different vehicles, different ways to manage all of that. And if you extend back outside again, we have another structure matching the structure on the other side. In this room we have our R&D section. You can see all of the servers I have here with a few supplies for settlement building right behind that. I did set this up to make it look like we are consistently experimenting on things that we find out in the world. The plan was to swap out some of these items and have it be something fresh every now and then, but lining them up perfectly just took a little bit of time, and I just left it at that. I do have my own R&D person in here and a few specimens that we like to keep on the table. A reservoir that is, used for keeping fluids in this area, along with a massive exhibit that we have here showing off a head of what should be a space worm, one of the giant ass space worms that you can see in some of the promotional material. To the left of this, we have our fabrication station for our settlement builder. The game does have an entire settlement mechanic, and most of the items that you see over here in the area do typically end up at the build site, so it worked out really fun for me to put this here and have the idea that every single piece of the settlements are coming from this room and being teleported down to the planet. Leaving the door for R&D takes you into an auxiliary hallway that connects to the central hallway from the bridge. This central hallway connects to what we will call for this video the communications area. You do have a Galactic trade terminal, which does update depending on each and every system that you go into, which I find to be pretty cool. So prices and even the stock that's available will change depending on where you are. And you also have your planetary transporter. This will take you literally to anywhere in the game, but you have to have already been there first. And you can save up to 3 different appearances for yourself in the appearance modifier. Heading back over to the central hallway, which leads back to the bridge, you do have a secondary auxiliary hallway that connects this whole area. As you've already seen the inside here, this is where Fleet Command is located, but I have them nice and numbered for each and every pod that we have. And again, gives the idea that the crew has a way to navigate this foolishness that I've put together for myself. This whole section has another section of hallways that leads back to the subsection of the ships, where we have a completely whole host of different rooms that I've put together for different purposes. And this little area, I don't know why I have this, but I thought, hey, let's just put a nice little bar and some TVs and things here. Maybe it's a bedding area. We'll say that's for bedding. This teleporter connects to the back of the ship, that way I don't have to worry about walking from one end to end. And you see I have a teleporter here. There's another one connecting on the left side of the ship. Same idea, helps save some time. The hallway connects us to section 2 of the ship, which starts out with our lounge area. A couple nice spots for you to just hang out and chill. We got fish to look at. We have a fireplace. Honestly, this was the look of the ships before they updated the freighters and gave us new parts. Like, everything in here was black, and it was just a massive cargo area. I had different sections kind of selected off, almost like exhibits from different planets and different systems I've been in. But once they updated and gave us actual parts, I was able to turn this whole central area into an AI hub for Calculon, who you will all meet in just a moment. But yeah, you can see the servers that I've set up in here that serve for Calculon's brain, I guess, so to speak. Oh, and there he is right there, peeking through the window. Not Prefect Egan, that's one of my squadron pilots. Say hello to Mr. Egan here. Now behind him, the round circular thing, yeah, that's Calculon. Over here we have our storage area 1 and our vehicle hub. Now this allows me to summon any vehicle that I have to any planet that I'm on, provided that my capital ship is in the same system. I do have to call down or craft a satellite of sorts, but I keep one in my inventory so I can pop it up anytime, anywhere. But storage sections, and also behind that, our large refinery. Just a massive area to take ingredients, take one thing, and mix it with something else. You can break things down into stronger stuff. You can take some stronger things and break them down to simpler components. You would think that I don't need all of these, but funnily enough, I have ran operations in this room that have almost used each and every refinery spot. Over here, that massive structure that we saw, here's another corner of it, along with the windows that you can see that lead inside of Fleet Command. The central hallway surrounding the AI hub, I kept it pretty simple, at least on this side. I just took some gas canisters, made them as big as possible, and then tucked them in here. I kind of ended up digging the look of that, but I really did outdo myself over here. On this side, I had the idea that, you know, members of the crew, they're going to have people in the settlements, people on freighters that are going to be halfway across the galaxy. So this is a spot for crew members to communicate with other people, even make a few, you know, questionable business deals if it comes down to it. Naturally, this is the other side of the lounge, and this is storage section 2. Again, I thought about doing one whole section room, but as I started putting this together, I liked the flow of it. Both of these areas start with the storage sections up top, and again, we have another doorway leading back outside with our second adjacent massive structure here, and these pods. The small pods, I'll actually go over those in a second too, but those are the medbay areas. This flat spot here, the idea is that ships could just come down, you know, with sick crew members, just bring them down from the freighters, and instead of bringing them inside of the actual capital ship, which could, you know, be a problem, we just bring them to one of these pods and work on them there. But more on those in a minute. Back inside, we have our, what I like to call the Star Forge. These things are called stellar extractors, but I just call it a Star Forge because you're just taking the materials in the atmosphere or out in space, and you're just taking them and condensing them down into materials that you can sell. Sometimes you can use them for stuff, but for the most part, they're just things that you'll be able to collect and sell at a later date. And back over here, we have the other side of the hallway we just walked down. And on our left, we have our AI core for Calculon. Like I said, on the left, we have Calculon's brain. We have his left and right hemispheres. I just threw these nice kind of light locks on these servers. It just makes them look quantum as hell. That's kind of how I felt. And then just a few nice basic little stations for the crew to use. And then we have the man himself, Calculon. I was very proud. Hello, sir. I was very, very proud of how this worked out. It is really this thing here, which you normally would see at the anomaly, just upside down, and a lot of things just lined up. It was a pain in the ass getting all of that stuff to line up perfectly. But behind the AI core, we do have our cafe and agricultural center. I'm not gonna lie, dude, this shit was super cool. When they updated the capital ships and started giving us new modules, when I saw this one, I was like, what? I want to do a whole ass room with nothing but this and make it just look like the dopest garden ever. And that's exactly what I feel like I did here. Out this door here, you can see I have another massive building. Fun fact, it's different than the ones on the front of the ship. We'll again go over those in a second, but yeah, another set of those here and a matching one on the other side. This is a nice little lounge area for you to hang out. I have a teleporter that gets us back to the central area of the ship. You saw that earlier. And I have these nice little pods to hang out and eat at. This is actually one of the few times I've been in here and I don't have parts of the crew just hanging out here. They don't sit down in the stools, which would be so dope, but they're usually here with menus out, and it's funny because I just feel like they're just like taking orders and shit. I have another one here. As you notice, I tried to make them all look different instead of having each and every one of these things just look like the most simple, basic table that you can make. Nah, man, I sat here and designed it and then specifically put all of the cups and stuff where they are. Good times. We do have our guy here who runs our agriculture, and we have an entire crop of some of that dank, some of that good. These things are called nip buds, and I kid you not, the description on it says that these things grow in wet, dank, dark areas. It is the funniest shit I've ever heard. I can't believe they just pretty much put them leafy greens in No Man's Sky. This room is where we have the gut rot flower. It is called Fecium. Yeah, just think about that for a second. It's called Fecium, so you can imagine that this room probably smells like shit. That's why I needed this to grow other plants, so I actually needed to have it in this room. But I thought it was pretty bad form to have a bunch of plants that smell like shit right by the cafe. So yeah, I boxed that out to, you know, kind of help with smells. So now that's it for the middle section of the ship, right? Back here, there is one more door leading off the tail end of agriculture, but this just leads to the back of the ship, back where the engines are going to be located, way back behind this massive ass structure, which surprisingly enough is not where the bridge is located. Structure 1 and 2 back here on the tail end of these. My walkway does not wrap around, which is why you don't see me walking around to show you what's over there. And there's nothing over there, it's just a dead end. Now, coming back inside, you probably noticed the roof. I have this like water treatment situation going on here. Now, the entire time I was building this ship, I had this vision in my head of Star Trek, right? The Enterprise, the ones with Chris Pine. In those, they had like straight up factories inside of the Enterprise, and I distinctly remember seeing a water treatment area. And I kept thinking to myself, I want to do some sort of water treatment type thing on my ship, but I could not figure out how to get it to work until I did. So this is the water treatment 1, and then you can take a teleporter right here over to water treatment 2. Now, this was next to impossible to mirror to make it look exactly the same as the other, just because they're so freaking far across from each other, and there just was no way for me to wrap my head around doing that, so I didn't. I just made one look one way and made one look the other. But yeah, I was, again, another room that I was proud of because yeah, I kept just having that vision in my head, and this worked out. Plus, you get the idea that, you know, the pipes are running throughout the entire agriculture area, and they're, you know, coming from the water treatment. This staircase and the one that matches it originally was going to be another just area of the ship. I was going to keep building up here, but once I took a walk up here and saw that I can take a really good, just unobstructed view at my fleet and take a look at the system, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna leave this blank. I just love the look of it. I could take a look through the windows of water treatment. It was just a really good vibe up here, so I left it like that. But down here on the right, as I mentioned earlier, we have our medical pods. You can see I have another one of these drones at work. They're pretty much all over the ship. But yeah, we got a bed, we got a monitor for your vitals, and there's a spot for you to get health and shields. I put them out here in these little pods because, I mean, you know, we have the fleet, and the fleet's going to be going to all types of different places throughout the system, and they may come back with some weird shit. So, you know, if somebody has some weird sickness or virus, rather than putting them inside of the capital ship and creating a pandemic that I can't clear out, we just put them in these pods out here, and if worse comes to worse, we can just jettison the pod. That's the idea. Over here, this nice flat area, there was one that matches it on the other side right through here. You can warp to the other side and take a look, but those flat spots that I have here, this is where ships would land. You know, if you're bringing in someone that's sick, you can land them out here, walk them over to these medical pods, just like the ones that are on the other side. They all have the exact same setup. This was real super easy to do. Didn't take any time at all. Heading back to the front of the ship, we do have our entrance here that'll lead us back into storage 1 and the refinery. But up the staircase here to the right in this building, we have our server towers. I have server tower 1 and server tower 2. Now I know I was making it seem like it was some big ass secret that was being held in here, but I just like the idea of having servers, especially some massive ass server farm on a ship like this. Server farm, because yeah, of course I would have something like this. You saw that Calculon has his own set of servers, because of course he's going to need his own brain power to do his own thing, but he can remote into these and use these to take care of other processes. I tried to get the entire thing full of them, but I needed room for myself to move down there, and it just became a pain in the ass lining them up the way that I wanted to. So there's a nice big gap down there. We have walkways on the left and right side of these. We don't really need to walk on both sides. They're pretty self-explanatory. Walking down the staircase, jumping into this teleporter pops us over to the final leg of our tour, server farm number 2. I have to say that all 4 of my exterior buildings, I ended up being proud with how they worked out. Server farm, yes, I mean, I was able to get that to be roughly identical with the building and the placement of the servers. I mean, it's a pretty basic setup at the end of the day. But even though that the water treatment ended up not looking identical to itself, I am still proud of how that worked out, because all 4 of those rooms ended up looking almost exactly how I imagined them. So GG for me. But that is it. As we run back down the hallway, that wraps up the tour of the high ground. I hope you enjoyed this. I know I enjoyed putting it together, and I have wanted to do a base tour of this for the longest time. So I really do hope that this video, while it may not get a lot of traction now in the early days of this channel, I really do hope that, you know, the few of you that may check it out enjoy it. And hey, if you have any questions, you know, about how any of this is set up, let me know. I mean, if you guys are curious about how to do any of these yourself, let me know. I mean, I would not be opposed to doing a build video to let you know how to make your own Calculon or anything like that. But thank you for coming by. We're gonna pop on out of here, and I will see you guys on the next video. Have a good one.